So it's another week and another opportunity to break down the mystery of fishing. Fishing doesn't have to be that complicated, but unfortunately, when you walk into a tackle store, it can be. This week, we're going to break down using a crankbait and what it is and how it works. So the next time you're on the water, you're going to be able to catch more fish. One thing I can tell you about crankbaits is that they have been around for a very long time and are pretty much used in every type of fishing I do, no matter where I travel in the world. And the thing about a crankbait is, it has one simple principle of design, and that is to imitate a bait fish. Now, wherever you travel, game fish eat bait fish. So you'll see a variety of different shapes, different sizes, and then different lips, which I'm going to explain all that to you, and hopefully it's going to help you catch more fish. So the basic design of a crankbait is it's the shape of a minnow for the body, but all of them have one thing in common, and that is a lip. And what this lip is really its ability to run. It gives the bait the action, but more importantly, it gives the bait the depth that it will run at. Now, the one thing I love about Ontario is we have thousands of lakes that have clear water, ample bait, and loads of game fish. So whether your lake has lake trout, northern pike, muskie, walleye, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, crappie, yellow perch, it really doesn't matter the species. They will eat a crankbait. You just have to understand which crankbait to choose. Now, there's really three design principles to a crankbait. The first one is going to be the profile, and that is the shape. Is it going to be short and fat, or is it going to be long and thin? The second thing becomes size. Small fish, small crankbaits. Big fish like saltwater, big crankbaits. So you have to understand, what are you going for? A muskie or a northern pike is going to want to focus on a bit of a larger lure than, let's say, a yellow perch or a smallmouth bass. And the last part of the equation after profile and size is the color. Now, I keep things really, really simple here in Ontario because our water is so clear. Think of bluegills, perch, rock bass, crappie, gobies, emerald shiners, anything that will look natural. And we can go through all of those things, but really in order of importance, crankbait's decision comes down to profile first, size second, and lastly is color. So let's take your first steps up to the giant wall of lures you're going to encounter at pretty much any tackle store you go into in Ontario. They are organized by diving depth. And that's an important thing to know. So on a box, you might see a box that will have writing on it that'll tell you how deep that bait's going to dive. Is it going to dive 2 to 4 feet, 4 to 6 feet, 8 to 15 feet? It's going to give you a range that depth of that bait is meant to run at. And when you think about how deep it will go, it is really designed by the manufacturer to hit that depth using 10-pound test monofilament or fluorocarbon. To show you a quick example, I've got 3 baits in my hands. One is a 6-foot diving. This is 8 to 10-foot diving, so you can see how the lip is actually bigger. And then the last one I've got here is a 17 to 20-foot diver. So as you can see, the lip size is directly going to relate to how deep that bait will go. It also means it's going to dig harder. Now, we get asked all the time about the setup when it comes to cranking. And yes, there are crankbait specific rods, technique specific rods that are designed to throw crankbaits. It's no different than golf. Certain clubs are designed to do certain shots, certain rods are designed to fish certain lures. But does that mean you can't do it on the one rod you have? Absolutely not. It is perfectly fine. So how do you work a crankbait? You want to cast in an area, if you're facing forward, you want to cover that 180-degree area. Make long casts, and every time you cast, move over a bit. So what you're doing is you're covering the water in front of you, and then your boat can move forward. What I always tell people is make your cast, point your rod down, just start that nice, steady, slow reel so you can feel that bait vibrating, and don't be afraid to hit cover. One thing everybody is afraid of when it comes to crankbaits, because they have treble hooks, is they worry about them getting snagged. These baits are incredibly snag resistant. Because the bill is running first, it will oftentimes strike an object and roll the bait, getting the hooks up and away from the cover. So don't be afraid to bang cover with a crankbait. Whether it's tearing it out of weeds or bumping it off wood and rock, a lot of times that little trigger where it hits something and changes direction slightly will trigger a strike. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a breakdown into the massively insane world of crankbaits. I'll tell you this, they are underused in Ontario, but they are incredibly effective, and I catch fish on them no matter where I go. Pick yourself up a crankbait, give it a shot.